Well, after that interview, I spoke to Balaul Bhutto, former Foreign Minister of Pakistan and chairman of the Pakistan People's Party.
As far as what the defense minister said, I don't think that it's a secret that Pakistan has a past as far as extremist groups are concerned. And as a result of this, we have suffered. Pakistan has suffered. We've gone through wave after wave of extremism. We went through the Islamization and militarization of our society. But as a result of what we suffered, we also learned our lessons. We've gone through internal reforms in order to address this problem, not only for us, but also as a concern of the international community. As far as India's accusations are concerned, it would be helpful if India was to provide specific, concrete evidence with Pakistan and with the international community.
You were a victim of terrorism. Your mother was killed by a terrorist. She was assassinated, Benazir Bhutto. And there have been, over the years, tens of thousands of Pakistanis killed as a result of terrorist activity in the country. But when you say Pakistan has a past, it was the policy, maybe not of the civilian government, but certainly of the spy agency, the ISI, the military establishment, to fund and back these organizations. So can you then see why India continues to point the finger of blame on Pakistan? Because this has been a policy. I mean, we saw in 2021, you know, the chief of the ISI was in Kabul. He was there just a few hours after the Taliban takeover, and it's been known for decades that Pakistan has had these policies.
So as far as Pakistan's history is concerned, it is history. It is not something that we partake in today. It is true that it is an unfortunate part of our history. We're not alone in this history. When, for example, in the first Afghan war, the Pakistani state and the Pakistani dictatorship at the time funded and supported and, you know, in every way possible the Mujahideen to take on the communists in Afghanistan. We did that in coordination and collaboration with Western powers. Post that incident, we went through the second conflict in Afghanistan, where obviously there was all of NATO's countries within Afghanistan, and Pakistan was a non-NATO ally. And we worked together with the United States and the international community to combat these terrorist groups. But it wasn't really until Pakistan went through the aggressive phase of terrorism that we did go through. We saw terrorist attack every other day that Pakistan internally, within our body politic, we got these sort of contradictions and these confusions related to this topic, particularly after the assassination of my mother, Shaheed Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto. You've seen Pakistan take serious action, successful action against these groups. I believe today this is not the case. The Pakistani government, the Pakistani agencies are not in league with, they're in fact combating such terrorist elements.
I just want to get to your comments about the water treaty, because you said either the water flows or their blood flows. A number of Indian ministers have come out and said, you know, we will no longer tolerate this. Now they'll have to just wait a few days. Another minister said that this was, you know, he had dishonored the sacrifice of his family. He's vowing decisive revenge for this attack. I mean, a number of Indian ministers have come back and taken issues with the comments that you've made.
I'm sure the Indian ministers have taken issues with the comments I made. Me and the people of Pakistan have certainly taken issue with the fact that India has unilaterally and illegally announced to exit from the Indus Water Treaty. Unfortunately, we're seeing now that there are new outrageous precedents, even in times of war. India and Pakistan have fought wars in the past, but we still didn't take such a step. It is something outrageous. It's an action that India has taken. I certainly not, my intent for my statement was certainly not advocating for bloodshed, but as the government of Pakistan had stated in their reaction to this decision, that it would be considered an act of war. And as you're well aware, when war happens, blood does flow. We do not want war. We seek peace. We've been seeking to engage with India for some time.
Do you believe that there is an imminent attack that India is going to launch on Pakistan?
Unfortunately, even though international law does not justify in any terms any such attack, you are well aware that under the United Nations, countries are only allowed to use force in cases of self-defense, not in cases of reprisal or to teach someone a lesson or in any of that case. We have seen in the past where they have launched attacks as a result. At the moment, the country is also bracing for any such action where Pakistan is at the ready to respond. But having said that, it is certainly not the path that will solve the issue of Kashmir. It is not the path that will solve the issue of terrorism, and it's not the path that will bring peace and stability to South Asia.
What would a Pakistani response look like? Because we saw something quite similar in 2019, where a series of airstrikes were launched on Pakistani soil by the Indians. An Indian Air Force pilot, his plane was shot out of the sky, he was captured, he was returned alive. But what kind of response is Pakistan likely to take if India does launch a series of airstrikes?
I don't want to go into theoreticals other than to say from our Air Force to our armed forces to our Navy, Pakistan is well capable of responding to any and all forms of Indian aggression.
And when you say that, I mean, do we know what that might look like?
Unfortunately, we've seen it in the past. Our two countries have gone to war before. It is our hope that this does not happen, that better sense prevails, that the international community is engaging with both sides, but forcefully engages with both sides to ensure that there's no escalation, that there's a fair and impartial and neutral investigation into the incident, and then create a conducive atmosphere where India and Pakistan could work together. Short of that, this could be turn into anything from a limited skirmish and a tit-for-tat between our air forces or any other wings of our armed forces, or it could turn into a full-scale war, and ultimately we're both nuclear-armed countries, and heaven forbid a nuclear conflict. That's always a concern whenever tensions increase between India and Pakistan.